So everybody, somehow, KTR has returned.
Nah.
No, you don't like that? That's not good. That's not a good one.
Yeah.
We are back, everybody. We are back. We are KTR, Keldabe Talk Radio. We have. I'm gonna let the people introduce themselves, but real quick, I'm Johnny Stoltz. I'm the Vertalore Protectors of La Folle in Northeast Florida. I am PRXO, and I'm the podcast team lead. Scare, if you want to go first.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am Scarif Mando on the forums, Public Relations Officer to the MMCC. And, I'm going to pass it over to Lomas.
Hey, everybody. I'm Lomas, though. I'm the South Central Regional Commander. I'm in Cartabescar Clan in Central Texas, the Iron Heart of Texas. And I am also on the Events Planning Committee, specifically MC4, and, of course, here on the podcast.
Ooh, and then we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mandalore the Uniter.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tom, also known as Mandalore the Uniter. Back to KTR after a little bit of an absence. Love to see him back. Let's get the show rolling.
Yeah, and awesome. Glad to introduce you guys. Let's get this going, because this is KTR.
So, hey, everybody. It's very exciting to have KTR back. As you can tell, we have completely retooled the show. Originally, it was an audio podcast. It was done under the tech team, and now it's moved to the PR team, and we decided to bring you audio and visual. Thanks to the creative mind of Johnny Stoltz. Johnny, how do you feel about this endeavor? I know it's been an interesting last few months. I believe this journey started officially in January, and we had a lot of back and forth trying to decide the new direction for the show. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, when I first met you at MegaCon in Orlando, I want to say a couple years ago, and Tom, you were there too. It just felt like it was such a new experience. The Mercs were already in my mind, and I loved it. It was like a family. But then when I noticed the extended family of every member coming together and just telling stories of like the same love and just the same heart that our clan had. You can see that in every other clan from you guys from Maryland, from people, we even had people from Germany, I believe, and across the pond come to that MegaCon, and just sitting down and just talking. And I'd love that we're gonna have KTR go in that direction, where it's like bunch of mercs sitting together, talking smack, talking stories, trade secrets, and just having fun. And that's what I'm excited for. I want people to to have that same feeling when you just turn on this podcast. You're hearing stories from all over the world of all the different mercs. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun journey.
What's new this time around?
What's new? Well, as you can see,
obviously, the video.
Yes.
We're not just audio, we're video. We will have some guests come in, and some portions will be audio only, but you're still going to have that video aspect. We wanted to create an elevated experience for this, so that you can be like if you were in the room talking with us. I think that's going to be a very fun aspect. And a lot of people were asking for that too, right? Like a lot of people, when they're like, oh, what do you want to see? A lot of people are like, hey, we want to see faces. We want to see video. And the colors. Look at the colors. Look at that amazing... Right? Where is it? Right here. Somewhere over here. There we go.
Yeah.
In the middle. Look at that art from the art team. Isn't that beautiful?
That's great stuff.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
And that music. How about that intro music? Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
You hear that little roar at the end?
Yeah.
We love that roar. We love that roar. So Mandalore, tell us, you recently had an awesome trip, huh?
Oh yeah,
talk about that.
Just as recent as yesterday. Yeah. No, it was a great time. I got to go to Italy and troop with. Gosh, I guess it was our first ever Mando Mercs muster. We kind of labeled these, or we gave a label to like large regional events. Should a region decide to use it, but the European region was very had a lot of positive energy behind doing it. Orisa clan out in Italy was the host for the very first Mando Mercs muster, and it was phenomenal. We had members not only from Orisa clan, but we also had several members from Jaguar clan came down. We had some members from Aura Galar in France come down. We had members from Twin Sons in Belgium come down. It was, and I'm trying to think if I don't want to miss anybody. I think that's everybody that was able to make it. But it was amazing just seeing everybody, and there was, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 30 mercs there.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of members from
I
all
saw the
over.
pictures. It was awesome. I was like,
Yeah.
please send me a picture of that jail cell with the glass.
Yes, the jail cell, and they didn't really do a death march, but they did do a Mando parade, and let me tell you, boy, they blew that thing out of the I mean, it was crazy. They had flag throwers in this thing. They had like huge like drums going. I mean, and yeah, it was. I thought I was watching the halftime show at the Super Bowl. I mean, it was amazing what they were doing there. But they had built all the clubs had come together and built like a Star Wars village, kind of like what you would see in like at MegaCon as a U.S. convention. It was just phenomenal, the amount of work and just the success of it. It was great. It was great.
Awesome, cool, man. Yeah, and that's part of your missions, right? That you do. Can you talk a little about that? Is that all right?
Yeah. My missions, basically, that is. When I say my missions, Mandalore missions, that is me going out to see the clans, troop with members, and basically, and for lack of a better term, spread the good word of Mandalore. I mean, that's my job. My job is to be, the helmet in the front of the club, going out and meeting people and meeting members and meeting foundlings and just spreading the good word as best as I can and letting everybody know how much that not only I appreciate them, but just as a club, how much the club appreciates what they're doing and the work that we're doing. And it's really important for me to go and meet with members so that they know how appreciative I am of what they do.
Yeah, that's where when I met Scarif and I met you for the first time was at one of the missions to MegaCon. Was that 2 years ago? I want to say.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Yep.
That was such a cool experience, just seeing everybody together, and it was just the spirit was high. It was everybody's like what I said, like everybody's trading stories, just showing how much love we put into what we do, and it was such a cool thing to see. And,
he does weddings.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
I do weddings too. Yes, so.
Yeah, we gotta show some pictures of those. Scare, if you want to talk about that a little bit, or...
I mean, yeah, I highlight of my year. Well, as a lot of people know, I met the love of my life in the club. We were best friends for a few years, then we started dating, and then we got engaged last year. And then this year we had our wedding. We wanted it to be with our family, and for us, our family is this club. So our guest list, I believe we had just under 20 blood relatives on the guest list and about 85 Mandalorians.
Wow.
So it was incredible, the amount of people that showed up. We had a few mercs drive about 8 hours to be there. Tom, I think you drove about that.
It was, yeah, it got really crazy around Washington, D.C.
Yes.
It was about 9 hours by the time it was all said and done. 9. Yeah. In fact, if I'm correct, the guys from Maine got there before me. Donovan got there before me. So.
Yeah, I believe so. And then Josh and Cruiser, they flew over from Washington State. They took them a whole day. They had to change planes, and anyway, it was just incredible seeing so much love because we love the club so much. Our relationship exists because of this club, and so it was really cool. Of course, Tom officiated. We weren't going to have it any other way. If that was if he had to cancel for any reason, we would have probably had to postpone. There was no backup.
Yeah, that's awesome. That just shows how much love, man. Like, it's so cool. This club is so cool. I love it.
Well, I was gonna make it there, come heck or high water. I mean, it was, it was actually pretty close to it was about a month-ish from my trip. Actually, no, I want to say your wedding was the weekend before I had to fly to Canada to troop with Vode clan up in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So yeah, I did that, and then the next weekend I was up in Winnipeg. So you can imagine, the cylinders are my 8 cylinders is probably about 4 cylinders right now. So
you've done a lot of traveling this year.
But I'm gonna do that. I mean, if I can make it work out, I'm going to come to those kind of events. It's special. It's special for the members. I mean, it's special for me, but it's special for the members. And that takes priority. I mean, outside of my wife and my real life job, and real life jobs, whatever. That takes priority to me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people know the story, but a lot of people don't, right? Like, especially if we have new listeners and people who just joined the club. I know we had some unofficial members who are going to be, foundlings. They didn't know how this club started. And I hate to ask you this again. Probably said this story a million times. But how did the Mercs start? It'll be cool to listen, get that a little...
No, it's okay. I answered that question this weekend. So it's 2 weekends ago. So it's okay. I'm used to this question. It's probably the number one question asked, period. So the Mercs started. I started a guild in this old MMO called Star Wars Galaxies. And back in the day, way back in the game, this was like 2004. It was really hard to get Mandalorian armor. Like groups used to be like, I want to say, I think they were the maximum size in the old days was like 30 people or 20 people, something like that. It took a group that big to be able to make Mandalorian armor in the Death Watch bunker on Endor. Well, some of us, we got our armor, and I was already a role player. I had met my wife. We weren't married at the time, but I had already met my wife in game. So I had role played for many, many years. But anyway, TLDR on that front. But so I started this guild, Mandalorian Mercenaries, and the name actually comes from Star Wars Insider 81, from an article that oh my gosh, why am I having a brain block? Anyway, an article that was written all about Mandalorians. It's called Mandalorians 101. And the author, who is also an honorary member, and please, if you're listening to this, excuse the fact that I forgot your name. I'm stroke brain, okay? I'm going to blame it on stroke brain. Anyway, he had basically threaded together all of the history of the Mandalorians throughout Legends and, what we knew of from the prequels. Well, in there's a snippet about Mandalorian Mercenaries, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool name. I'm going to use that as my guild name. So anyway, fast forward in 2006, Alicia, we still weren't married yet. We were very serious though. She said, let's go to Dragon Con. And I'm like, ugh, Okay, I'd never been to a convention before, at all. And part of me was like, do I really want to go to a convention? Like, is this really me? Like, is this something that I really want to do? And she wanted to go the year before, and I had kind of put it off because it's expensive. Even back then, Dragon Con was expensive, and I was like a very green IT person back then. I hadn't been in my job long, and so anyway, I put it off in 2005, and we went in 2006, and I saw like 3 or 4 guys dressed up as custom Mandalorians, and I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. I didn't know people did that. Like, I could bring my character out of galaxies and like make a costume for him. Like, I always loved Boba Fett, and I could, like, I don't have to be Boba Fett, but I can like be from the same people as Boba Fett. This is awesome. And so I came home and I started doing my research, and I found the Dead Helmet, who, and I think they still have a custom Mandalorian part, but even back then it was still kind of an afterthought, which it's not their fault. That's not what that site was built for. There was another website called Heroes, Villains, and Mandalorians where most of the customs had gathered. And it had been tried before, where somebody had tried to put together a group, for Mandalorian costumers or cosplayers. And so, I'm like, I should really try to put something together, because we've got no representation in Star Wars costuming. Like, we should. Like, everybody knows what Mandalorians are, or everybody knows who Boba Fett is. I thought everybody knew who Mandalorians were because I ran a guild where we all liked Mandalorians. But the reality was, hardly anybody knew what Mandalorians were.
Yeah.
I mean, very few people really knew what Mandalorians were. So, I just kind of sat down, I wrote out this outline, and while I was doing that, I was trying to look up where to get armor from, because at that time I wasn't making it. I bought a fiberglass kit. Was my first kit. It didn't really fit all that well. If you look at like the early pictures, you'll see it didn't fit me well at all.
Wouldn't pass.
No, it would not even pass. No, it would not pass the CRLs. My second kit probably wouldn't pass the CRLs nowadays. But we didn't really have CRLs. When Mercs first began, we didn't have CRLs. But so some of us from Heroes, Villains, and Mandalorians, we got together at a convention called Adventure Con in Knoxville, Tennessee. This was Memorial Day weekend of 2007. So around May of 2007. Even though I consider April to be more of our birth month, because we did all of our planning and stuff in April for this, for kind of coalescing into a group. Mm-hmm. But that was our first real troop. There were 5 of us, including including Alicia, my wife, and she did not dress up as a Mandalorian, but we were like, she dressed up as a Zabrak, like, I don't know, bounty hunter or something.
That's cool.
But it was like, yeah, there's 5 of us here, and ironically enough, that was also the first troop of the Dark Empire. So yeah, both organizations literally were born pretty much at the same time, with the same troop. But, from there, I was like, you know what, let me throw up a website. And I threw up a website relatively quickly after that, an old Flash and was it YBB bulletin board or something? And then people kind of started to flock to that, and they started to come to that. And then it was like, okay, well, how do I organize things into, like, how are we going to organize, like, groups? Like, it can't just be one big group. Like, we're going to have local groups. That's the only way we're really going to grow. So at that point, it was like, well, let's just do like the Mandalorians did. Let's have clans. So Talon Clan was the first clan, and I was the Alarat of Talon Clan. And then Falco Clan, they popped up. They had already kind of been around. So we, they came on board, and that was our second clan. So it was Talon Clan and Falco Clan. And then the guys in Florida started Bernaverda Clan. We had all met at Dragon Con. We decided let's meet at Dragon Con. And so we met at Dragon Con in 2007, and we were actually in the Dragon Con parade. That was the first year in the Dragon Con parade. We've been in the Dragon Con parade every year since. And then, we just started to get, chapters popping up here, or, clans popping up here and there. and it just started to kind of snowball from there. I mean, and then in 2008, I guess it was it late 2008, the council at the time, what is now the ICC, they're like, you know what, we need to have like an actual leader for this thing. And I'm like, okay, I mean, if that's what you guys think. And so members, the call was put out for members to put out names for, for the Mandalore position, because I was still just outright a Talon clan at the time. And there were lots of names. There were lots of cool names like, Mandalore the Destroyer, or Mandalore the Great, or whatever. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm looking at those names. I'm like, some of those names are really cool, and some of them were kind of like, eh. And then Mandalore the Uniter was on the list. And I'm looking, I'm like, do I really want Mandalore the Uniter? That's not fair. But, right? I mean, and so the members at the time voted, and they voted for Mandalore the Uniter. And I was like, oh, really? Man, I could have got a cool name like the Destroyer, or the, Mandalore the Terminator, whatever. But I'm Mandalore the Uniter. And so, and it was fine. It was fine. I didn't really, I was not super happy with it at the time, but it was what it is what it is. And in 2009, we did our first, 2008, the next year, we did our first booth at San Diego Comic-Con. And that's where I had the conversation with Baveen, Lance Dworshak, whose Mando name is Baveen Verhees, who's mentioned in the Republic Commando books, because we were all part of like the Karen Travis Yahoo group back in the day, and she used to read openings to us and stuff like that, and we all conversed, and we met her at Comic-Con, and anyway, and he told me we were at Joe's Crab Shack that night. I had been in Mando armor for 16 hours that day. It was the longest I ever wore. Yes, it was in my Mark II, my first metal kit, and it was the longest I ever wore armor. And at Joe's Crab Shack, in fact, we had the first Mandalorian wedding. Anyway, we were all sitting at Joe's Crab Shack and everything, and he's like, dude, if you want this thing to work, you've got to be the Pope of this. Like, you're going to have to be the Pope of Mandalorians. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's like the weirdest thing I ever heard in my life. Like, the Pope of Mandalorians. Like, come on, man.
Too. In a Joe's Crab Shack, too.
Yeah, at a Joe's Crab Shack. I'm not going to say if we were or were not drinking, but we were at Joe's Crab Shack. And I was like, dude, that might be taking it a little too far, the Pope of Mandalorians. But, I don't know, it took about a couple years to really, of thinking, to really be like, you know what, he's probably right. Like, I'm really going to have to, like, pretty much give my life to this thing. And that's just, and I think that has been one of the things that's really helped the group. I mean, really been successful for the group is that I've, not so much that I've been the leader, but that, I was willing to really push it, and try to be an example for people. That's important for me, to get out there and talk to people and, let them know that I really care about them being members, and care about the work that we all do, because that stuff's important. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what the group is. Yeah. And that's how it started. I mean, and that's the story. At least that's the story I'm sticking to. So.
The Pope at Joe's Crab Shack. I'm
right. Oh my gosh. So
that's
crazy.
Awesome, man. And it's touched so many people's lives. Like, how many members we have? Like, how many numbers? I think I saw, like, we're at 4,000 now.
I think approved kits were up in the 3,000. As far as active members, it's like 1,800 and something.
Yeah.
So you have to remember, a lot of members have multiple kits, and you cycle through members over the years. Some people's lives change and priorities change, but yeah, we've got about half of our membership is active. So
that's awesome. And then how many clans do we have? How many regions and clans? I think we got like
74 clans.
Well, that's awesome.
Wow.
All around.
And
the world, man.
Well, yes, and I expect to see some more. I mean, there's other areas that are working on clans. I mean, Greece, the Greece stronghold, they're really working on wanting to become a clan. The Thailand stronghold, they're working on wanting to become a clan.
That's awesome.
So we've got in areas here in the U.S. I mean, there's plenty of places that could still pop up. So I expect to see more clans over the next couple of years. Our clan this year was Gratuakun clan that's up in the Maritimes and New Brunswick, Nova Scotia area of Canada. So there are 5 clans up there now. So
cool, and hopefully we want KTR to help bridge the gap and share
Absolutely.
the stories, and that's what we're trying to push. I'm trying to push
Well,
that.
KTR has always kind of been one of our greatest kind of, I don't want to say mouthpieces, but it really has. I mean, it's been one of our kind of like our bulwark for the people that want to listen to what's going on in the club. They may not necessarily pick up a copy of Battle Cry and want to read, but they listen to KTR, because you can listen to it going down the road. You can listen to it while you're sitting at work. You can listen to it while you're working on your kid.
Yeah.
That's always been one of the cool things about KTR. Back in the old days, we started this as Mando Ade. And Lomas, you may or may not remember those old days. Yeah. That was me and the first communications officer, Tagler Dress, and we would sit around and we would literally just talk about just Mando stuff and general Star Wars stuff. And I mean, we even would do like the after party where we played Oregon Trail.
Awesome.
And that's what we did. And more people would tune into the Oregon Trail than they would actually tune in, because we would live cast it. I mean, we were like cutting edge back in the day. We were live casting that stuff
with Oregon Trail.
With Oregon Trail, yes. I mean, when Lucy broke her arm, or when Bobby got dysentery, people were living through that with us. And we had such a great time though back then, and it was it's great to see that people want to continue to carry this on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the important thing, that we want to carry it on. And I think that's a testament to the members wanting to keep things growing in the club.
Yeah, awesome.
And I will shut up now.
We love it. That's what we brought you. We asked you to be here, man. We love it. Everybody loves it.
Lomas, can you tell us about your time with KTR? You are one of the people that really bridged the gap on this project between the old KTR and the new KTR.
Yeah, I came on right towards the end of the old KTR. Things had slowed down. Things had come up in other people's lives, and it was just audio. For those of you who don't know, it was just audio, and we didn't have the video format, so we couldn't see each other. So there was a little overtalk, and then a little dead air. So that's my favorite part about having this video portion, is that we can actually see each other, just like the people viewing can see us. We can see each other, and hopefully there won't be as much overtalk or dead air. You don't want to talk because you think someone's about to talk and no one's talking. So that's always fun. But yeah, this episode has been a long time coming, because it's the end of the old series. Just it didn't necessarily stop for a while. It was just postponed and postponed and postponed. And then it finally, we just canceled it, and we're stopping, and we're going to redo it. And eventually we're going to redo it, and someone else is going to take over and redo it. And finally, we're back.
Somehow.
No, we agreed. You can only do that once.
I had to just throw it in there. I had to. It's my favorite part of Star Wars. It's so compelling, man.
You know what? PR might need. Can we put out a hiring ad for a new XO, maybe? Sure.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of love, though. A lot of love here, and a lot of hard work. And we're gonna make it good, man. Last thing I do, we'll make it good. All right. So we heard a little bit about how Mando Mercs came to be. Thank you for that.
Sure.
I love hearing that. Like, I know I've heard that. I've heard a couple versions of the story, and I think my favorite part was the Joe's Crab Shack. I think that's we're gonna have to put it in now.
That's always the weirdest part of the story to tell people.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. I was in Italy, and I was in Milan last weekend. I was telling that same story, And I was waiting for somebody to jump up and be like, heretic, heretic, because, the Pope's just right down the road. And it's like,
You're
but
looking back now, you're like, we could have been in some place better. We could have had a better named place to have this conversation at.
but I mean, it's pretty much tell the same story
Yeah.
to everybody. So I think everybody that's heard it can verify that for accuracy. So
Yeah. And so I did want to bring up we talked about a little introduction of us. So right now the KTR team, it's pretty much me, Scarif and Lomas, and I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves so that for future episodes they know who we are. We're not just some well, I guess we are a bunch of nerds, but in the entire club. But yeah, like I would love Lomas. Please, like, tell me, like, how did you get started in the Mando Mercs?
In the Mercs.
Yeah.
Well, interesting story. Way back in the before times, 2013, my then 5-year-old son and I went to the local library for their Star Wars Day, May 4th event. And, I grew up with Star Wars. I'm old enough to have seen the original movie in theaters, hence the Grey Brigade and the OT card. Anyway, so that was 2013. We went over there, and he saw a Mandalorian, actually a Mando Merc. I found his business card later. And he sees this guy, and he's just like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. He looks at me and says, Dad, can you make me one of those? I said, of course, son. I have no idea what I'm doing. So again, I found the Dinnet helmet. And then eventually I found the Mando Mercs, and I thought, I'm going to use these steps. I'm going to make his kit a legit kit. So I make it, and by Halloween, he's got his kit, and he says, Dad, I want you to have a kit too, so we can go places together. You got it. So again, following the MMCC, I made my kit, and then by the next May 4th, he and I both went back to that same library in our Mandos. And then my daughter saw that, and she decided she wanted one, so I had to make another one. So anyway, fast forward. 2016, I got my OM. Actually, when I started, I had no intention of joining the club. But once I made the kit, I'm like, this is good. So why not join the club? I already got a good kit. Yeah, mostly good. Can't afford most of that. But anyway, 2016, I became an OM. 2017, Carta Beskar formed out of Arquette and Moran. And 2018, Alrad. 2025, Regional Commander.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just so much. Like, I've heard so many stories of, like, their kid got them into it first, and then the whole family falls in love. Like, we have a couple people here in Florida that he's trying to join the Mando Mercs now, but it's just the whole family. Starts with the kid, cosplay, and then you all just want to do it together. It just brings so many smiles. Like, it's just so much fun.
Each one of my kids actually grew out of their first kit, and we made a second kit for each of them.
Yeah.
And then they got into middle school and high school, and they didn't want to do it anymore.
It's not cool anymore, Dad.
Now Dad's doing it, must not be cool anymore.
Yeah. What about you, Scarif? I'd love to hear that.
Yes. So I think for me, I became a Star Wars fan at a young age. My dad introduced me to Star Wars. I loved it. And when Attack of the Clones came out, watching it, I absolutely loved seeing all the Jedi on screen. That was a highlight. But I remember, because I love Jedi. They were like my favorite. But Attack of the Clones also introduced me to Jango Fett. I had watched the original trilogy, and even at a young age, like Return of the Jedi was my favorite. It's changed over the years. Like, for some reason, I liked it better than Empire Strikes Back, which is not the case anymore. But even still, I don't know. Boba never really caught my attention. I don't know why. As a kid, I didn't really care as much. But when I watch Attack of the Clones, I see Jango Fett, and I'm just like, that's awesome. I want that action figure. And that Halloween, they had a costume that came out where it was like rubber. It was like the plates were made out of rubber, so it wasn't just cloth. And like everyone at school got one of those costumes. Like all the guys had it. I was 9 years old when that movie came out. Hold on. Sorry. But I actually didn't get the costume. I wanted it and didn't get it. I think I ended up being Jedi, or I think I was Yoda that year. It was weird. But I remember like, oh, that costume is amazing. But later that year, Jango Fett Open Seasons dropped. It was a comic book. I didn't really read comics, but I was at the bookstore with my dad, and I saw this comic, and I'm like, that looks really cool. Let me look at that. And at first, I thought it was Boba Fett because of the colors, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, this is amazing. And they had all 4 issues sitting at the thing, because I think they came out every month or every 2 months, something like that. They spaced them out, so whenever I saw it, it was after Attack of the Clones, but after all of them had released. So I got my dad got me the issues, and I fell in love with Mandalorians at that point. I was like, this is the faction that I love. And by the time I turned in between that and 12, I was like 12 or 13, and I'm like, I'm gonna make my own costume. I made a god-awful Mandalorian in middle school. I wore it to our local polar bear plunge, and I look back at the photos, and it was something else. It was back when they had the Hasbro put out a Boba Fett helmet that had a back to it, but the visor was super wide. I think a lot of you guys have seen that one. I had that. It was just unpainted. It was just a Boba Fett helmet, and then the rest of it was. And I'm like, oh, it just kind of looks like Open Seasons. And when you're a kid, you can appreciate it, I guess, that much more. Mm-hmm. But skipping forward, I used to do cosplay and go to cons and stuff. I loved the Batman villains and things. But Star Wars costumes always seemed like too detailed to do. I wasn't good at building stuff. And I went to a convention that I didn't want to go to. A friend pulled me along, and they knew I was a hardcore Mandalorian fan. And I'm at this con, and there's a table set up, and it says Mandalorian Mercs, and there's Mercs standing around, and I'm like, they have this in Maryland? Because I had seen them online. I had seen the MMCC main page. I didn't know that there was a local clan. Mm-hmm. And this was in February 2017. And I'm talking to them, and I'm like, man, I love this. I love Mandalorians. They invite me to an armor party, and it was just awesome. It was just the community that we have here in Maryland just for years has always been awesome and very welcoming. I had built a kit, and unfortunately, about a year later, when I was going through the pre-app process, we had a house fire, and I lost my entire kit.
Oh, no.
And yeah, it really sucked, but the clan was there for me. It was like, it was just incredible. They were there every day asking how I was doing. Me and my family ended up living out of a hotel for like 6 weeks trying to figure stuff out. And it took me a while before I wanted to build armor again, but I loved it. Like, I went into the Mercs with no skills. I didn't know what Sintra was, PVC expanding foam board. And they had taught me all this stuff, and I loved it. And the more I would show up this stuff, the more I would learn. Like, I still learn new building techniques to this day. There's like 1,000 ways to do any one thing. And I ended up going to MercsCon 2. I was a UM, and I at this point, because this is a couple year gap, I know I'm a little scatterbrained with this, but for a couple of years there, I kept building armor, but I would build it for other people as a UM. I just, when you lose your kit, it didn't want me to stop, but it was hard for me to build another kit for myself. Yeah. It was a little difficult. Being a bigger guy, it was a bit challenging figuring out how to build for a bigger guy, and I think that's something that kept me away from certain Star Wars costuming. But I started figuring it out, and I had a clan to help me. And when I went to MercsCon 2, the family atmosphere that I felt in my clan, I felt there. I had people I never met before in my whole life just come over, give me a hug, and say, hey, welcome to MercsCon. I made like really good friends that year that are still like my best friends now. Like Cruiser, I met Cruiser. I didn't know Cruiser did big stuff with the club. He was just this guy sitting at a table, and he's like, hey, how are you? I'm Cruiser. And it was just great. It was just a great time. I came back from MercsCon 2 so energized and pumped up. I built a kit, and became an OM less than 2 months later. It was incredible. 2021, December of 2021. But yeah, so that's kind of like my story. It's just with me, my dad had taught me that family was important and family was everything. And when I went about building my kit, he was building a kit with me. Mm-hmm. And my dad, unfortunately, passed away from cancer before we could get his kit done. Oh. So for me, it became kind of a mission because the work that we do is instrumental in so many different cases. And the impact that we have on our communities is incredible. And it was just, my dad gave a lot back to the community, whether it was helping out at a homeless shelter or just contributing, locally. I mean, he always made time for the community. So this is kind of like a way of honoring his memory for me.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's awesome. And it's like, it's so cool just hearing everybody's stories because everybody has a story. Everybody has a reason why they're here. And it's so interesting. And I wish I could put them all in a book, right? And then we can just like look through. It's just so, I love telling stories. My whole thing was journalism growing up. And I just love hearing the stories of everybody joining. It's really cool.
Well, I will say, Ray, when you were a kid, that costume that you're talking about, you actually had decent Star Wars costumes back then. Because my first Star Wars costume, and Lomas probably remembers this, was this really thin, vacuum-formed plastic face mask and what literally looked like a Glad bag, trash bag that you wore. And one was Darth Vader. I had the Darth Vader one. And there was a Boba Fett one. And that was back in the early 80s. I want to say 81, 82.
And the mask had a little bitty slit.
Yeah, a little slit and 2 eye holes that you could see out of. Yes, and
this little bitty string, elastic string on the back, and would just cut into your skull. Yeah.
I wore my Darth Vader one until the mask just crumpled over time. I mean, I wore that sucker to death. So yeah, you're lucky you had such great kids costumes. Yeah.
So Johnny, tell us about your story. How did you come to meet the Mercs and end up where you're at now?
Yeah, so in 2019, I went to MegaCon just before MegaCon Orlando, just before COVID hit, and that's where I met some of my actually clan members. All of Florida, they usually get together. All the clans in Florida get together at MegaCon and put together a great show. And I was actually able to meet some of my members in Protectors of Lothal. And it was actually her forum name is Verkropeneer. She came up to me because I kind of reached out a little bit before, and she spoke to me and just basically automatically we felt like best friends. Just seeing her and Kit was amazing. And I was like, oh, this is really cool, but I'm not artsy. I'll never be able to do this. It's really cool, but think about other things. I got other things going on. Then COVID hits, and everybody gets stuck inside. And I was losing my mind with what to do and trying to figure out what to do. And that's when I just said, it's like, I'm going to make my kit. I'm going to make my first kit. So she helped me. She's our Rusalor Solik. And we were basically in constant contact, teaching me everything. I was like you, Scarif. I never held a wrench. I didn't know what Sintra was. The closest I was to being artistic was painting D&D miniatures, but even then they looked like horrible. And putting together that kit, I learned so many skills. I met my actual clan at Ancient City Con. It's a con in St. Augustine for the first time. And I wasn't even a member yet, and I was just there helping do our booth setup and building our little village, Star Wars village that we have. And it just felt like family, like we were best friends for years. And that really, them being so nice and so welcoming and just already a part of a family, I was like, that's it. I'm a huge fan. I'm here. I love Star Wars, but now to be able to do this. And then what got me to really stick was when I put on that helmet for the first time and going out. I was an OM. I got an OM in 2023 and then became Veralora right after. But my first time ever kitting up, just seeing the smiles on some of the kids' faces ridiculous. Like it's such. It made me feel like a Disney character, right? And that high just stuck with me, and I just wanted to just throw my entire brain power and everything into making people smile. And yeah, from then, I became Vertalore basically 2 months later, because I got approved in November. Became Vertalore that following 2 months later, and then just helping my clan grow and doing the social media and taking pictures and making them shine, and just showing the love that we put in the hours and the blood and the sweat and tears that we put into it has just been such an awesome journey. And then I reached out that you guys were looking for some battle cry riders, so I reached out, and that's how I got in touch with PR. And then the video team happened. That was fun. We got to build the video team together, and then everything with KTR came in, and it's been a fun journey. It's been really fun.
And now you're XO.
And now I'm XO. Yep. Now I'm XO. Now I get to see now I have real power. So unlimited power.
It happened. It can happen fast. I think, like, because you said 2 months after you became OM, you became Vertalore.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember for me, about a month and a half after I became an OM, I became a Russalore.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, for me, it was about a year and a half after being a Russalore. It was my first year and a half in the club was when the position of PRO opened up. And I remember I didn't put in for it. I just joined the PR team to harvest stuff for the main page from clans. And I didn't put in for it because I never thought about it. It was like, okay, it's a big position. And I remember being at New York Comic Con, and a couple of the guys that I was become really good friends with, they were on the cabinet. And like I said, from MercsCon 2, I didn't really fully appreciate or know what everyone did. I was just like, these are great guys, I correspond with them. But I remember them talking to me and say, have you considered putting in for PRO? And it's like, no, I figured, I've never thought about it, but I figured, I haven't really been in the club long enough to do something like that. And I know that took me a long way to get to there, but to get to my point. But what they said to me was, it's not about what you've done, it's about what you're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big deal for me because I never really thought about it like that. I figured, you work hard, you work on something for a couple of years. I had a 5-year plan. I was hoping that maybe I could become a Russol one day, because I love being a Rus. It was my favorite thing for the longest time. And at the time, I had become the Russalore Sully. So hearing that, I'm like a year and a half into being an OM, and already this opportunity kind of comes in. I told him, I'm like, I got to think about it. I'm just like, I don't know. And I thought about it in the middle of New York Comic Con and decided to fill out the resume thing for it.
That's awesome.
And hearing that you you look at how you became Vertalore 2 months in, and then not very long after, you joined a team. You're now an XO. You've been a fantastic XO.
Aw, thank
but
you.
Yes, but the message that I want to put out there to anyone listening to this is that it's not about whether you've been in the club for years. Time doesn't mean anything. It's about what you're doing right now. That's what was said to me. And if someone hadn't said that to me, I would have never put in for PRO. I would have never been able to have the opportunity to work on these projects with you guys. And I absolutely love it. So don't let something like that ever stop you.
Yeah, I think you can see, like, it was the same with me. Like, I was like, they came to me, my clan, Alarad and Hope for Grapanir, and she was like, yeah, we need a Vertalore, dude, and you got the drive, so do it. And I think that's what it is you can just see it in people's eyes when they really want to do something and be a part of something great and be a driving force. I feel like you can tell, and then you can it's a vibe.
Yes.
Well, Guys, I hate to say it, but I got to run. I just got back from Italy, and I'm pretty tired. But thanks for having me on the return episode of KTR. This reminds me of Mandalore the Uniter, who started the return movement. So now KTR has its own return movement. So I look forward to hearing the future awesome, great episodes that you guys are going to make. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Thank you for stopping by. All right, but I think this is it for our first episode.
That was a good one.
Yeah, do you guys have fun? You guys had fun doing that?
Oh,
You guys want to do this
awesome.
again?
Yes, let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. What can you expect in upcoming episodes, right? We talked about it briefly, but we got some interviews coming up with not just the cabinet members that we mentioned, but we got some Allorads. Basically any part of this club, we're going to reach out, we're going to find your story, and we're going to tell it, whether you like it or not. We got behind the scenes, how does this club work? And then we got, we're going to spotlight some events. Like, we're going to have a big MercsCon 4 episode.
Yes.
Right, Lamas? We're going to get you guys started with that. That's going to be
Yeah,
a big fun one. Yeah, we got stories, and then we got teases, right? You're going to tease some stuff.
Yeah.
With that. And so our next 2 episodes, we're gonna have a clan spotlight. Lamas, you want to talk about that a little bit? About
We're gonna talk to my clan, my family, Keldabe Talk Radio.
Awesome.
Got some of the officers lined up, ready to go.
Yeah, cool. And we're gonna be doing that. We want to spotlight as many clans as we can. That way, you guys, know each other's stories, know what you guys are doing, see what works for them, and then maybe bring it to your clan. And then we're also going to have an Allorad roundtable. We're going to have a couple Allorads talk about their position, how they joined the club, and what they do. I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining us on this episode, on this journey. And we're going to keep it going. And we're going to keep it right. And this is our way.
This is our way.
Thanks, guys.